I'm live, and here we are. Finally. For some of you, I don't even remember what it looked like. I didn't even remember the game, it's been so long. But the first win on Monday Night Football in 25 years. Some of you guys weren't even born or don't remember it. I didn't even remember the game. I watched it, but don't remember it. And I was a teenager. And what a performance by Josh Allen under the lights in prime time for the nation to see after two, let's just say, really blah situations that the Bills were put in against Tennessee in prime time, against KC in prime time, weird times, weird situations. They finally returned to the scene of the crime out in Arizona and playing, give up a touchdown. Bills get the ball back and just go right down the field, tie the game, and that's it. They never look back. They tie the game, they take the lead, they never look back. There was some shaky spots early in the game. So many plays were made on both sides of the ball, but for the quarterback to play this way under the lights to 26 touchdown passes, the most touchdown passes since 91's Jim Kelly, 33, 32 total touchdowns, um, most passing yards in his career right now, 80% completions again. The first Bills quarterback in team history for to throw for 4 touchdowns have 80% completions. Uh, this kid has really blossomed before our eyes, and for him to have the big boy balls against a tough football team, let's make no mistake about it, the 49ers are banged up, but they are a tough, scrappy football team, and they're a pain in the ass. You see all that stuff they do in the run game, and you know it was not easy to play against them. They're scrappy. They're there's injuries, but the Bills have injuries. Every team had injuries, and Allen picked them apart. That was the top. I think they were a top five pass defense in the league, and he carved them up point blank. They shut down. They shut down the. They shut down the 49ers run game. If you look at it, they only had 86 yards rushing. That's twofold. The Bills contained it somewhat. There was one big run, I believe, by Wilson. I think it was Wilson or Mostert, one of the two. It was one big run that they allowed and another one, but it was only 86 yards, a very quiet 86 yards. The Bills made Mullins beat them. And you know what? They gave up a friends and family touchdown at the end. Um, I don't know why, man, but I know why that what they did tonight was really really nice. Was really really nice. It was so fun to watch our quarterback play like just a stud. Everybody will be talking about him tomorrow. He's the last impression that the NFL fans, media get after an NFL weekend, and he just put on a clinic. He was an assassin. I put it on Twitter. Josh Allen was a straight assassin tonight. He had what his throws that he missed were most of them were throwaways. I believe he had like 5 or 6 throwaways, and other two were one to Davis in the end zone, and the other one to the first drive to Lee Smith in the end zone. But this kid, you know, is just so you know wow. I would have never expected this from him. I've never expected this from him. You guys remember what I thought, the video that I did after he was drafted. I never expected for him to be playing this way, to be the best quarterback of that group. And I just think from a complete package standpoint, a talent standpoint, a size and arm strength and mobility standpoint, just the football acumen, the leadership, the presence, he's got it all, and he's playing like he has it all, and it's just beautiful to watch a Bills quarterback just say, you know what, I'm the best player on the field. Nobody's better than me out here, and I'm going to show you. They couldn't stop him. No matter what the 49ers did, they did a lot of late motioning. They did a lot of stuff, and it didn't matter. he was just hitting guys in stride, just getting guys nice, easy, free completions. It was beautiful, you know. And it was frustrating, Steve, because I thought they were going to run one in on the first drive, and they got stopped, and it was just really pissed me off. And then they get the stop, and then Moss fumbles, and Moss really didn't see the field only for one drive, one play, and he was stopped. And the preceding play to me was one of the biggest plays. It's the biggest play of the game. The stigma or this idea that Sean McDermott is a conservative head coach is so old and so stale, and it's tired because the Bills have punted the least amount of times in the league. I'm frozen right now. They punted once tonight. The Bills have to lead the league in fourth downs. They go for it a tremendous amount of times on fourth down. And the next play, they say, fuck it, we're going to go for the jugular. And they hit that play to Diggs to keep the ball, keep the chains moving. They go for it. If they give the ball to 49ers right there, they're like, no, they were well within Tyler Bass's range. They chose not to take that. And Diggs did a nice little move on the outside and got himself first down. And I believe the preceding play was the touchdown to Davis. And that's pretty much the ball game. It was, and some of Daboll's play calls tonight, wow. He was really, as much stuff as the 49ers do in the run game with playing with defenders' eyes and stuff, Daboll was doing that with the 49ers defense. It's none of their, outside of Josh getting sacked by Deion Jordan, their team, was no equal to the Bills today. It was Mckenzie was great. The wide receiving core as a whole, Dawson Knox is starting to get involved. He's starting to play with a little bit more confidence. Even when he dives, I'm afraid, he's going to give up the football, but he's been holding on to it. Didn't get called for any holding penalties, anything like that. I think the only holding call on the Bills was the Cole Beasley one where Singletary, and that was a frustrating drive because that was right after the Micah Hyde interception. Bills had it first and goal at the 5, and I'm like, if you punch this in, game's over. And they still got the 3, but that was frustrating. But it was good to see them get a turnover. And then Trey White, who's been playing lights out, and he's starting to intercept the football. I mean, he's got 3 interceptions in the last 5 games. He's really getting his hands. He's starting to drive on the ball. That was a big interception right there. Keep the 49ers out of the end zone. The Bills keep the ball, just able to milk more time off the clock. And I think that was the only time they punted was on that time they got the ball was late in the fourth quarter. It was like under 5 minutes, which is insane. But, I seen, Damager alluded to the linebackers have been playing great. I know Klein got beat on the run, the Mostert run outside. Really, but outside of that, I mean, Tremaine made a great stop in the hole against Wilson on the first drive of the game. That was the fourth down stop. Milano was out there sparingly. I saw him. I don't know if you guys can correct me. If you guys saw him more, I saw him probably 5 plays, if that. And he looked, he looked, mobile. He hit. I know he had a good hit. I saw that, Eric. Thanks for pointing that out. I didn't write that down. Thank you. Eric put something in the room that is very, that's very noticeable because that started in the second half. I noticed that a lot, which is something a lot of people have been calling for. And maybe the coaching staff saw something that they liked. Maybe they felt like he could handle Ken Law, Armstead, those guys inside better, and they held up very, very well. They did not get a lot of pressure on Allen. Allen slid away from a lot of pressure very, very easily. I know Milano did have a big hit, forcing an incompletion on Nick Mullins. He came in on a blitz, a delayed blitz. He hit the shoulder. It didn't look like it inhibited him. He's got a little bit of a harness on it, but the little bit I saw from him, he looked good. I assume they want to wean him back in, and they have time. He hasn't really played football in 6 weeks. You're not going to put him out there on a field that's beat up like that one is. It just had a game on it yesterday. That's something I was really worried about. The Rams and the Arizona Cardinals had played there the day before. The field was really, really choppy. I'm like, I hope nobody gets hurt. And then the first series, you had Singletary look like Motor got hurt. Moss got hit on the leg and fell, and it was a fumble, but that didn't count then. Unfortunately, it was a foreboding sign. And then Feliciano went out briefly, came back in. And yeah, Thomas, Allen on the run, he's not checking the ball down, man. The one pass to Beasley on the drive before the half where he hits him on the sideline and Beasley's feet are just right there. He just keeps his toes. It was just beautiful. It was a beautiful throw and catch by Beasley to have the awareness to get his feet in bounds, stay in bounds, and wow. I'm what a game. What a game for our team. What a gift for our fan base. Just to have that, delicious win to go to bed on, to have the rest of your week on. And guys just, we're getting open, making plays, getting yards after catch, getting, first downs, making tough plays. It was a great game to watch outside of the first sequence, which was pretty much the whole first quarter because those were two long drives. Bills went on a long drive, didn't score. 49ers went the whole length of the field, didn't score, got stopped on fourth down, and then got the ball back. So it was that whole first quarter was taken up by that. But hopefully everybody looked like they came out unscathed injury-wise. Allen was, holy shit, what can you say? Trey's been coming on. The first Monday night win since 95. I don't know if any of you can remember it, were alive. Maybe if you were, you're not old enough to remember. But yeah, and that's just such a good win to have. And this team is a Hail Mary away from being on a 6-game winning streak. And you were born in 95, so you don't remember it. And yeah, Croft sat again today. Murphy was out. The other two usual suspects, Fromm and Yeldon, but they really showed up tonight. And I think they wanted to go back there. They played it down. Eric was 4. I was a teenager. I was an older teenager then. And I don't even remember the game. I've watched the game, I'm sure. But I don't remember it. I don't remember them playing. I don't remember watching it specifically. I've seen so many Bills games and so many heartbreaking losses in prime time, as we've all seen it. You go to the Dallas game, the Patriots lost. There's the 2 this year. Just some of the many frustrating. Then a long stint with no primetime games, and the 57-7 or 10 beat down by the Patriots that one time. It just so many things, so many brutal memories in prime time. It was nice to really get a good one and to know the nation was watching our football team and our quarterback play like an elite player at his position. Just a guy that, I'm one of the top 10 quarterbacks in this league, and I'm going to make sure everybody sees it and knows it. And he was all that and then some tonight. He didn't run much. He ran a couple of times. He mostly scrambled to get the ball downfield, and that's exactly what we want to see. Yeah, get used to it, Steve, because it's going to happen. And people are going to, they like the 1 o'clock starts. But yeah, it's going to be Sunday night football, some, Monday night football. That's where you go. If you're one of the best teams, better teams in the league, you're going to play good teams, and you're going to get put in prime time. 9-3 in 2 years in a row. And a much tougher schedule, and a Hail Mary away from being 10-2. And those other 2 games were fucked because of this whole situation going on right now and rescheduling. That team was not right for those games. That really threw them off. They're so regimented. I'll never get that out of my head, ever. And I'm going to deviate away from the Bills game just for a second because it was such a big thing yesterday. To the Bills, no. Tua doesn't scare me, but I'm going to stay in the division. The whole Jets, Greg Williams, fourth quarter call at the end. There's too many people in the league, too many former players saying there's no way in hell he didn't call that on purpose, and I'm in total agreement. Because if you watch the play before, I think he had a single high safety with a rolling fucking another safety who rolled over, and Aguilar almost got over the top of that. And the next play, he calls an even tighter coverage with, zero, and Ruggs just runs right past the corner of Lamar Jackson. And I had Greg Williams is a piece of shit and hit the head. You know what? That didn't kill him. That won't kill his NFL career. This will. Nobody in good conscience will hire that guy as the defensive coordinator ever again because of that. He is toast. But yeah, Damager, 10-2. I'll take it. You know what? And it sickens me that he was the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. He was not good. He was terribly mediocre. He talked a lot of trash, talked a lot about himself and how great he was, but those teams were, best record was 8-8, woefully average, not good. But yeah, man, we're in a completely different situation than those teams. Trevor, the Dolphins, I mean, they're a tough team. The Bills have played them, those Brian Flores teams, 3 times. They're 3-0 against them. Remember, that's I would be too. I just think that their defense is really, really bad. Cleveland's defense. I mean, outside of Garrett's a real playmaker, and he's a stud. There's no doubt about it. Garrett is an amazing player. I just don't fear their defense, and I don't think they play good in cold weather at all. They lost to the Raiders in cold weather. They barely beat the Texans in a cold, crazy weather game. And it just, I don't fear him in that way at all. I think the running game is tough, and if you stop that running game and make them, think about it, they're a running football team. Everybody thought Baker, was going to light the league up and tear it up, and he played a hell of a game yesterday. Don't make no mistake about it. That kid tore the Titans a new asshole, and that was all in the first half. But I'll say this: the Titans played like the Bills played the Titans. Everything that could go wrong for the Titans went wrong. They busted coverage on a touchdown to Peoples-Jones, long touchdown. The Henry fumbles in the first time in almost 400 carries. A sure first down in Adam Humphrey's hands, bounces off and goes right into and they were going to go and score right into a Cleveland defender. So those things happen. And yeah, Eric Allen is the best quarterback of that draft, and it's not even close right now. To me, it's just getting the gap as time goes on. It's getting wider. And there's no disputing it. You look at the way Lamar Jackson has really come. I mean, he's really come back to the pack this year. The fact that teams have figured that scheme out. They know what to look for, what not to bite on, and they're making him beat teams with his arm, and that's not happening. And Allen, it was the same. It's like, he runs, he'll throw a little bit, but he's not accurate. Now he's like, every time I look, he's 80. He's had one game this year where he was sub 60%. One game. I mean, he's got multiple 80 completion percentage games, multiple 350 yard, 400-yard performances, multiple 4 touchdown performances. It's going to be a hell. I mean, it's a hell of a thing, but right now, year 3 is kind of that sink or swim. They start to separate, especially with, all players, but quarterbacks. He's really done that. Then, the Steelers, there's another point, the whole scheduling thing. Steelers, their schedule gets thrown off with Washington. They have to play today at 5. They lose their first L of the year at home to Washington, who's playing very, very tough. I mean, 2 former Carolina connections. McDermott played later. We all saw what happened. And then, Rivera early in the day. And the Bills and Steelers, when they play on Sunday night, It'll be the Steelers' their third game in 12 days. So think about that. They're going to be, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how conditioned are they going to be? How sore are they going to be? Are they going to be a little slow? Are they going to be, just a tick, just a little lactic up, not have time to recover? I just want to see what they look like. Are they going to be pissed? I'm sure they're going to have an edge. They just lost their first game. They didn't play particularly well, but I think the Bills match up well against them. Steelers don't really run the ball at all. I think they're 29th in the league versus trying to run, and I think the Bills match up well against them. They lean on Ben. The Bills didn't play the Steelers with Ben last year. I'm sure they'll think about that, and it's gonna be a tough, and it's the Bills at home. It's gonna be a tough game. It's not like a regular Bills game. No fans there. It's really the home field advantage is gone. I mean, I want the Bills to play at home? Yes. I don't want them to get on a plane and have to fly. But without some of you guys there and the rest of the fan base there, it does not hold the same reverence. And Eric points out something. What an Alex. If you guys go on YouTube or you can't sleep because you're too wired up or you haven't seen it already, go watch all the shit Alex Smith went through to get play in this league. If that guy had retired after that injury and all those surgeries and the shit that happened to him, yeah, he's out, Trevor. Nobody would have batted an eyelash. But man, and that guy was a butt of a joke for so long. Bust first overall pick, and he resurrected his career. He's a game manager, check down guy. Alex Smith, man, that guy is more of a man, more of a competitor than most people to have gone through all that he went through and to, go out there and win that game and put the Redskins in first place. Man, hats off to him. That guy is the NFL comeback player of the year, and he should be the man of the year because what a story. Yeah, he scares me too, Trevor. TJ Watt he's a really good player, and he gave the Bills problems last year. Forced the fumble on Singletary, and gonna have to watch out. Bills running backs have put the ball on the ground 2 games in a row, and that's got to change. That can't be happening. So that they're gonna have to get that fixed. But overall, the white face masks for the win. Yeah, man, those white face masks, they've earned it. They've earned their love. I mean, I didn't see the big deal about them. I'm more a fan. Like if they had a blue face mask, I would like that a lot because it would make the white helmet pop. But shit, I don't care. As long as they win, I don't care what they wear. Just as long as it's Bills blue, that's all that matters. Joe Hayden's a stud. I think he's been around in the league for a long time. He's not the athlete he once was. Plays the game with his mind now. He got a little banged up in the game, but I think he stayed. I don't see that the Steelers suffered any injuries in the game. I saw Eric Ebron had a couple of terrible drops, like easy drops. He just dropped them right in his hands, and he just dropped them. But Steelers looked off. They really looked off today, and the Bills know they're going to be getting some love nationally. They're going to be getting a lot of praise. People are going to start to say, well, that Hail Mary, without that Hail Mary, the Bills are, 10-2. They're right there competing for, a home field spot potentially. They're one of the best teams, whatever. And now they're going to look back at that and say, hey, this team is a Hail Mary away. Without that Hail Mary, that I saw 2 teams go 2 different directions. I saw the Bills, they didn't come out and play their best last week. They played a damn good game this week, and Arizona has just crumbled. They've crumbled, and I think they blew their load on that, and they've lost 3-4 in a row now. Yeah, it makes me wonder about Haskins. Holy shit. Yeah, Haskins was a story. You don't go around bragging about your stats after a loss. Oof. Steelers have I don't know if he'll play this week though. I don't know. I know it was a practice squad call up. Yeah. Eric puts on, Fitzpatrick. They have a good secondary. They have a lot of good players on defense. I know they have some injuries at middle linebacker. Another guy went down today. They don't have Devin Bush. They don't have Bud Dupree, so they're a little thin there. Well, very thin. Those are two really, really good players. And yeah, we had to hear about that Hail Mary, and they just, you know, Hail Murray. We had to just hear about that shit for 2 weeks or whatever. And again, I don't think that really was in their best interest because they haven't played well at all, and they have to. Their season is in jeopardy right now because Minnesota's taken over the playoff spot that they normally had before, and they've kind of fallen out of the division race. So, and that conference is pretty much up for grabs. And the Bills, if you look at it, they should be 4-0 against that conference, and that's a good conference. That's a lot of good teams in that conference. That's not an easy conference to play, and all those teams are very competitive. Let me read some of the comments here. Yeah, they did overplay that shit. Oh my god. Yeah, definitely respect Ron Rivera and all the stuff he's done. First of all, thank all you guys for coming in this late. It's 1 a.m. We're feeling great, loving life. 9-3 should be turning through. Victory Tuesday, baby. It's nice. It feels really, really good. It feels great night's sleep, great sex, great food. You know the deal. Yeah, I can't sleep either. Gotta stop. That's the story to me. Thomas said it. Like, we have a quarterback that can keep us in games. If you look at, again, go back to the Arizona game, that kid, he drove them down there and scored the go-ahead, should have been game-winning touchdown, and that's something he does consistently. And today he was just, I'm just gonna ask all you dudes. There's no way, there's no other two ways about it. You guys aren't better than me. I'm the best player out here, and I'm just gonna show it over and over and over again. Nothing you show me is gonna bother me. And I'm just gonna go out there and just let it rip. And I'm gonna look for that. The Steelers, he played them last year. That was a win to get them into the playoffs, and I want to see what happens now. It's kind of like, Big Ben was, Allen's compared to Big Ben. I think Allen's a better athlete than Big Ben. They're similar, the way they bounce off people and fend off sacks. I always say, people can compare, who does Allen remind you of? Does he remind you of John Elway? Does he remind you of Brett Favre? A lot of you don't remember Elway's career. Roethlisberger, Steve Young. He way bigger than Steve Young. He's bigger than Brett Favre. Yeah, I think Allen, if you go look at Ben's third year, it was a very bad year. Had the motorcycle accident, had all those issues. In his 07 year was really, really not good. I think he's way more accurate than Cam. I think Cam at his apex was a way better athlete. We're talking, apples and oranges, but he was just more explosive than Allen. He relied a lot more on his legs than Allen. Allen relied a lot on him in his first, year, second year, a lot less this year. He becomes a threat to run touchdowns into the end zone when you get inside the 10-yard line, which is an excellent weapon to have and something defenses have to account for. But even he said, I don't want to take as many hits as I've taken, and I want to start, taking care of my body better. And that's all that matters. As he runs smart, he slides, he doesn't take a lot of big hits. He got blindside sacked, which is something we haven't seen. And Dawkins gave it up, and he didn't fumble the ball. Remember, the fumbles were an issue, and he's kind of cleaned those up. Terry Bradshaw, Eric Wright, all the haters, Kai Fahey, all the assholes over at PFF. What is he accurate still? Or is it just, what excuse are they going to put? He's more accurate than Baker. He's more accurate than Darnold. He's way more accurate than Jackson. Can't even talk about Rosen. The guy is a non-entity. Aikman, who's a scumbag. I can't stand him. He's a scumbag. Him and that asshole that he commentates with. Can't stand them. But yeah, what are they going to say now? What fake stat or what fake analysis are they going to pull out of their ass to explain why he proved everybody wrong? I just don't understand why there's just a certain establishment that just can't admit that he's good, that he proved them wrong. It's just like almost if it's almost like blasphemous if you say this kid proved everybody wrong. Remember when everybody said, "Oh, Josh Allen, the tight end, he should be a tight end." It, and if certain quarterbacks like Kyler Murray, Tua, if they take a shit in the middle of the field, everybody's acting like they're going to be the greatest thing ever. So I don't I get it and I understand it a little bit, and I understand the narrative behind it, and it's really pervasive and it's very pernicious, and I don't like it because they'll never talk about what Allen does in the same breath that they talk about other quarterbacks with. If Kyler went out there and did that, to just certain guys, Lamar, they just go nuts, they go ham, they're and it's like, but they're so used to patting Buffalo on the shoulder, on the head. They pat him on the head like the little kid. Oh, you good kid, you tried hard. Maybe you get him next time. Now it's like you got to start treating him like a legit stud team with a stud quarterback. They just don't know what to do. I think they've been so used to so long to just treating the Bills. Oh, look at that great fan base they have. They're so loyal. The team tries hard, they play hard, and rah rah rah. It's like, nah, they go out there and they've got the key positions locked in. They've got a great GM. Oh yeah, 3 games. It's just like, oh. It's like you gotta fall over backwards. You gotta bend down and pay homage to him. And I think a lot of it is the stigma coming out of school. There was such a small school. We've gone over this so many times with the Wyoming stigma and all that stuff, and the accuracy issues and the no competition, and everybody watches. Tua, you play it, you see a lot of Bama games, you see them play, you develop a rapport with them. And the same thing with Lamar Jackson. He's a star. These are Heisman Trophy winners, right? Heisman Trophy winners. So I get it. Yeah, I saw the Steve Young interview, Trevor. It was good. Because there's a lot of similarities. Like he was a running quarterback from BYU. He was in a terrible situation with Tampa Bay. Got traded to the 49ers. He sat behind Montana 4 or 5 years. There was no free agency then. There was none. The first free agency year was 92. There was no free agency. So the only way you can get off a team was a thing called Plan B free agency and trades or cut. That's it. That's the way you got off a team. And he he got his chance, and he never once Montana's body was, and he took the job and kept it, and he won a Super Bowl and had a Hall of Fame career. And I'm going to read some of the comments here. Even they showed the stupid Hail Mary at the end of the game instead of showing. Yeah, it's like they have to smack the Bills, like give them an insult, like they just won. Like there's another guy, like yeah, Nick Wright is another one. It's like if you don't praise, and I get it, they have to play the whole card and they have to go along with the SJW movement and the equality thing, and it shouldn't be about that. It's like we watch football. Last I checked, all these guys have the same uniform. All these guys have played in fully integrated locker rooms and sports their whole fucking life. None of them care about this stuff. They just want to go out there and make their money, play as good as possible. And I hate when they get them all caught up in this stuff because these athletes don't want to be put in that position. I'm sure they don't. I'm sure Kyler doesn't. I'm sure Tua doesn't. I'm sure Lamar Jackson doesn't. I'm sure they don't want to be put in that position where they're treated differently. They're talented and they play well. They should be praised, no doubt about it. But I just wish it was equal treatment. That's all. I wish there was the same level of praise. There was the same level of respect given, because it's the second year in a row Allen's going to lead this team to the playoffs. it's the first time they're probably going to win the division since 95. And a lot of firsts. First Bills quarterback to throw for 400 yards multiple times in a season. First Bills quarterback to, do what he did tonight. 400, with 4 touchdowns, 80% completion, just, the list goes on. So I don't know. Buffalo was in the hunt. I don't watch that guy. He's an NBA guy. I don't even watch ESPN. I just really don't. But the thing I want to point about the Dolphins is, let the team tout Tua, keep giving. That's a very warm weather team coming north. Last game of the year. That's a quarterback that's never played below 40 degrees. Rookie coming north in almost January in Buffalo. So let something happen like the Colts game in 17, where it's just crazy. For me, I think that they're in a great position. They get to go play Denver. They get New England again. Cam is a little beat up. He didn't have a great game. It just the Chargers just vomited all over themselves. I think blew their load last week against the Bills, and that was it. Steve puts out let the media tout Tua, keep giving Buffalo that trip. Yeah, I think they'll keep that too. I really do. Allen is a self-made man. He was not even supposed to be here. He says that, and I think he thinks about that all the time. That is true. Steve puts out a good point. Steve just dropped a nugget in the room. That's why you guys are here, man. I can't. I'm not a computer. That's a good one. Daboll knows, and I'm sure that's going to be conversated about. If they want to win that game, if the Bills really want to make a statement, because I don't want to happen what happened last year, where the Bills go into the playoffs. They won one out of their last 3 or 4 games. They kind of they didn't back into the playoffs. They had their spot shored up, and I want them to go in playing their best football, and it looks like they're playing their best football. I mean, they pretty much should be undefeated. The whole saying, who you are in the month of November. Yeah, Daboll was the coach. Yeah, Daboll was the coach. He was his offensive coordinator. That game and the preceding year, where he came in, he was there with Hurts also. So yeah. It's possible, Damager. Who knows? I win as many as you can. Win as many as you can. I want to see, this team, 12-4, 13-3. I want to see that level. That's the new benchmark. That's the new norm. That's what I want for this team. We all want that. We're all sick and tired of, in the hunts. Have a few teams lose at the end of the year, and like the way they got in 17. Just they got in and it was great, but no, the new benchmark is this is where we go. This is where we play. This is it. This is what we do. That's what I want. And the thing that I'm going to look for is how they play against the Steelers next week. It's going to be a tough game against, to me, I think KC's better, but an elite team in the conference, and then how they want to go to New England and play against New England. And if they said, we want to put their foot on their throat and show them whose division this is now. And that's the game I'm looking at, is that New England game in New England, and see how they go out there and just let it go. Oh, Fitzpatrick is a better quarterback, and I think he's a better leader at this point in his career, and I think the team rallies around him more at this point. I don't know what kind of leader Tua is or isn't. I've heard nothing but good things about him, but he throws kind of weird. He backs off a lot. I know it seems to get to the target. He was, played the Bengals. I mean, it's hard to discern how much can you take away from a Bengals team that's beat up, injury riddled. They're not talented. They lost their quarterback. And I personally think if Joe Burrow would have been healthy, they probably would have won that game, because Miami didn't do anything special. They had Brandon Allen at quarterback. The Bills have played a Brandon Allen led football team. It's not very good. It's pretty yeah, Denver is 3-0 against the AFC East. Well, I think they're going to be 3-1. How about that? And that's another game. You go win those conference games. It's nothing but conference games now. No more no more NFC games. But it was good to get this win. I didn't want them going against the Steelers, having a loss. Steelers, they lose. It doesn't matter. Ultimately, every game is its own entity. They're weird. It's like they're 11-0, but it's like, I don't want to say something and have them explode this week and get all their ducks in a row. So I don't know. Maybe, the Bills can scheme up against them. They can get them, reeling. Maybe they can force Ben to have to move. He gets the ball out really, really quick now. He doesn't. I don't see. I don't see like, him being really like, hit a lot. He took one big hit today that I saw, probably did more, but them being one dimensional or them making themselves one dimensional is going to be interesting because I want to see the Bills getting Milano back is huge. Having all their corners healthy is huge. Maybe Dane Jackson is up for that game because all the wide receivers the Steelers deploy, Washington, Johnson, Claypool, Smith-Schuster, Ebron. They have weapons all over the place. But Washington played a hell of a game, and the Bills are going to look to try to emulate something that they did that frustrated the Steelers. And outside, Washington's doesn't have the secondary the Bills do, but the defensive line is legit. Sweat, Payne. They don't even have Ioannidis, Allen, fucking Chase Young. They have a stud. They have a stud team. Daryl Johnson. Oh, that Daryl Johnson play. I wrote that down too. That Daryl Johnson, that big run stop that pushed them back. I think that they had to settle for a field goal. And there was a couple of other times he almost got another hit in the backfield, and he just got. Remember when that run that I think Wilson ran into the back of Tomlinson, bounced off, looked like he was going to get stopped for a loss, and then ran. After this game, he's eligible to come off damager. But if if they keep playing like this, keep him, let him get completely healthy. Let John Brown get completely healthy. And yeah, that was a big hit by Vernon Butler in the backfield. And I think the preceding play was the Tremaine Edmonds stop. But giving that ball back, it made this game a lot harder than it looked. You saw the team after in the locker room said, we got a lot of things to clean up. And yeah, you should go down there and take the lead. You shouldn't give the football back after your defense just got a fourth down stop right the first play after. There was a few drives they felt like, you go down inside after a turnover, you should reward your defense with a touchdown. So yeah. Steve puts Dane Jackson can't play unless someone on the Bills roster gets COVID next time he comes up. It has to be or signed to the fit. Well, then I would sign him. I would, because they have an open roster spot. The Bills roster's at 52. They only activated Matt Milano. Jake Kumaro took a roster spot for Smoke, so they're still at 52. So it's an interesting situation right now. They have an open roster spot, and that could be it. The kid's played very, very well when he has been up, and that's a position where you need as many good players as possible. Today's the first time I'll say, get into the cornerback position, a team targeted, and there was some close plays. He almost had an interception. He almost got his hand on that one football to Ayuk. Those were just some great throws that hard to defend. There was one to the touchdown. The tight end was running. It just Levi Wallace got targeted a little bit today, and he was just a smidge late on making a play on the football. And he had his hands on an interception. There was another batted ball. Does Robert Foster play in the league? Yeah, he's on. Robert Foster's on Washington's practice squad. He originally got signed to Green Bay's practice squad after the Bills released him. Now he's in Washington's practice squad. Last I looked. So don't hold me to that. Yeah, but Brown getting back, letting him get healthy, letting his legs get healthy, getting those, that speed back in the lineup would be massive. Would be massive. So there's no need to just rush him. Let him get fully healthy or as healthy as possible. So when you start really, getting in these games, and then you have John Brown, Beasley, Diggs, and then you have Gabe Davis, then hopefully you're tuning up Knox. You're getting Knox going now. You see they're starting to show Knox, look, you reward us, we'll reward you. And Croft's not playing. Maybe Croft plays next week because, he did catch the touchdown against Pittsburgh last year to put them ahead and win the game. So maybe Croft gets back in the lineup. He did have one game against the Steelers when he played for the Bengals where he had like 2 or 3 touchdowns. So that's a good football player that you have on your inactive that could be active. So I think that's possible. I think, that's something we could see. Isaiah Mckenzie was part of that group, Trevor, and he scored a touchdown tonight, had another one of the nice little toss sweep runs. Isaiah Mckenzie, man, he's been with Allen since the, not the beginning, but, he was on the roster after Allen came back. And he's been a nice player. He's been a nice find, a guy being picked up off the waiver wire back in 2018, and he's been a solid addition. And most of Beasley's yards came in the first half. They really started trying to double him in the second, and then Allen started hitting Diggs. Everything Beasley did in the first half, Diggs started to do. And then Davis was one really nice pass that he caught right before the half, ran out of bounds, and then the touchdown, he made Richard Sherman hold. Allen made a little pump, and then it was an easy pitch and catch touchdown. Beautiful. One punt tonight, guys. 68-yarder from Corey Bojorquez. There's another play back in Arizona that really pissed me off. If Corey Bojorquez doesn't shank a punt and give Arizona 3 free points, guess what? There you go. I mean, the Bills, there's a lot in that game that, is still frustrating to think about. But the team to go back there, win that game that way in national spotlight, prime time, first Monday night win for a lot of you guys, a lot of us. I can't even I remember. I probably watched it. I definitely watched it. Just can't remember it too well. It's really nice. Allen just 375. I mean, remember the whole thing? Remember those days where damn, a quarterback throwing over 300 yards? Allen, that's nothing now. It's not even, the expectations are just, they're through the roof. The least punts in the league, Trevor. I believe they have the least punts in the league, lead the league on third down conversions, and they also, I believe they're either leading the league or top 3 in the league in 4th down conversions and attempts. And they were 2 for 3 tonight. The first one was a real bitch because I'm looking at this game. I don't know if the rest of you guys are. I'm looking at this game and I'm like, the Bills should have hung 40 on them. Bills easily should have hung 40 plus on them. And that's a good defense. And I know they're missing Nick Bosa. They're missing, you know what? Matt Milano's a Pro Bowl. He's not a Pro Bowler, but he's a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker. John Brown is a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver, so I can play the injury game with people. And, Kittle's a stud. I'm not going to lie. Honestly, I don't see that much of a discernible difference between Garoppolo and Mullen. I don't see things that are discernibly different. I don't see where the 49ers are that, you know what I mean? They're less or more with or without him. I think they're interchangeable, and I think he'll be cut. I don't think they'll pick up his option or whatever they'll do to get underneath that $50 million and go in a different direction. Joshy Boucher, Josh, he's He's the quarterback version now, man. With Shane whatever, what other quarterback from the movies you want to think of. Like he's well past that now. And it's amazing. I mean, just watching him play. Um, the one other pass he missed was one where he was running. He tried to hit Singletary, but it was kind of behind him and hit the ground. He really wanted to get that last first down when he was scrambling. There was another positive result of his scrambling. Remember, they were down late in near the red zone. They had gotten a penalty to get backed up, and then I think they got a negative play. It was like 3rd and 15 or 3rd and 18. Josh had the roll, threw it incomplete, but I think it was Gibbons or Hayter, one of the two, knocks Josh out of bounds, and then roughing the passer, automatic first down. And I think the next play was the pass to Mckenzie for the touchdown, and that was a backbreaker for them. That was a real brutal. Yeah, he's not bad. He's just not an elite talent. Like the one time he went deep, which irritated me, the pass interference against Wallace was bullshit. I'm not sorry. That was bullshit. That was an absolute bullshit call. It was like him and Ayuk are hand fighting down the sideline. They're hand fighting, and the pass was clearly going to be incomplete. And they throw the flag like it comes from the fucking judge right in the middle of the field. It's like, come on, man. They're both going at it, competing for the ball. It was such a fucking bullshit call, because that was a 3rd down play. They were just trying to heave it up, and it was just really, really frustrating. I was already pissed off that the Bills gave up the ball, didn't score a touchdown. That was the only penalty all night where it was like, that's tack, that's bullshit. And the one Beasley hold, I called it before they threw the fight. Beasley held their shit, and they got him. But yeah, it was really, really frustrating. Really frustrating. Well, he's a former DB. He's always going to side with the DB, Steve. But I don't know. How you guys feeling? You feeling? I mean, 21 people in here, almost 130. I mean, the wind's got us riding high. And yeah, Wallace has had his head turned looking, and I hate those calls. I really hate those calls. They're frustrating. The DB makes a good play. It's a hard game to play. Oh, look, the NFL Network's replaying the game. So we get to relive it right now. NFL Network's replaying the game right now. Nice. I'm probably gonna rewatch it and stay up. Feels good. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for staying up. I was debating whether to do it because of the hour, but I know you guys would be tuned up like me, excited like me. Just totally like through the roof. The quarter. I mean, they didn't just get by the skin of their teeth. The quarterback went out there and just had a day and made it known that, hey, I'm a stud. Hey, what's up, Bills Vols? You've been on here before. I know you. You finally got me. But yeah, it was so good to see that kid go out there and have that kind of game, that kind of performance. Not that he hasn't had decent performance. I mean, the Dallas game, the Steelers game, he wasn't that great, but they did win the game. The two this year weren't that great, but he's, today was important because that's a tough defense. That's a really good defense. And Jim and I is right. If this defense gets it together a little bit more, just a little bit more, you get Milano a little bit healthier. He didn't take a lot of, Klein's play has been amazing. NFL defense, was he the defensive player of the week or month? Was he the defensive player of the week or month? Klein. I have to look. Bills are posting shit right and left. As they should be. They posted it earlier. Let me see. Was he the defensive player of the month? Defensive player of the week. Sorry. But still, he's been playing lights out. So Hyde got his hand on a football. He's finally, every member of the Bills secondary has an interception now. So I think that this team, for all intents and purposes, can really make a run. Yeah, Doug, soak up that W as poor big dubs. That's right. You have a guy like Darren Lee who can, former first round pick who's talented, played in this league, and made plays. He could, who knows, But they're deep. They have depth. They have good players. They have hungry players. They have bought in players. They don't have any mercenaries, and they're the yeah. Vol said it. It's like they beat themselves. Like when the Bills lost, they beat themselves. They beat themselves against Tennessee. 4 turnovers, just mistakes all over the place against the they couldn't get the offense going against KC. But you hold KC to 27 points, you should have a chance in that game. And the offense could never get it going. So other than that, tonight, you get down there after the first drive, you should score that touchdown. You should punch that in, send the message, 7-0, come match it. Credit to the 49ers, they got the stop. They went down there and scored. But the Bills defense did get a stop, and then they got burned. Well, they got burned. The reason they scored is they got burned. They did get a stop on 4th down. So, yeah, they're playing really, really well. They're tightening up when they have to. They're getting turnovers. They're getting their hands on the football. They're starting to make plays on the ball. They got close to some sacks tonight. There was a couple of really, really close times they got close to some sacks, but they definitely did. They hit Mullins a couple of times really, really good, which really affected him. There was a couple of throws where he skipped them at the feet or just threw them over the guy's head because he was a little rattled, especially in the second half when the Bills could pin back their teeth and go. Yeah, that Matt put out that was a nice block by Diggs to spring Knox on that touchdown. And I really want to see Knox take another step. I think that guy has got another step or two in his game that can really help unlock this offense. I mean, if you get a guy that's a big threat in the middle of the field, down the seams, in front of the quarterback, you think about those play actions, hitters to Gronk right over the middle, running in stride. And I would like to see that element of the Bills offense because I saw some Patriot stuff tonight. That little quick pitch to Knox down inside the 5, that pass to Knox that he scored on, that, those are some Patriot-like things. And I think, you see the trust in Allen. They went for it on 4th down, up 10 at the, 34th, or well within field goal range. Old Bills kick the field goal, go up, hope to go up 13 points and say, fuck it. They were like, nope, we're going to kill this motherfucker right now. And they went out there and put the foot on the throat. And that was great to see. That was so great to see. When Diggs caught that pass, I couldn't have been happier. Yeah, man. Trevor, they said it right after the game. Allen even said it like you fumbled down there. You basically hand the team a touchdown after your defense scores. That could have been demoralizing, crumbling, not recoverable in terms of a psychological, damager, but it didn't happen. They said, okay. They went down there, they tied it up, eventually took the lead and said, all right, that's it. They never gave it back. No preseason hurt. Yeah, no preseason, no camp, no just getting to be able to tackle guys and, get your, all those new players in the defensive line to get them their rhythm together. You don't know you're going to lose Star because of the situation, and then Star is not there, so everybody's roles change. Also, I want to say this because he gets a lot of stink. Harrison Phillips played well tonight. I was watching him. I saw him on the field. He was next to Zimmer a lot. He didn't do too bad. He held up. He didn't get pushed around. Maybe the knee is starting to feel better because he is coming off the ACL from last year. So Harrison Phillips, if he, starts to turn it around a little bit, hats off to him. That I would not mind seeing. I mean, shit, more for it. Douglas Masters, I agree on Knox. I thought he could have a breakout this year. Maybe it comes in year 3, but there's still 4 more games this year, man. A lot of big football to play. Balls Magic. How crazy is it the difference between the Texans and Bills franchises less than 1 year after the playoff game? Yeah. Deshaun Watson's still a hell of a player, though, man. He's still a hell of a talent. I mean, he did lose the game yesterday with the fumble late, but they were going in to win that game. The guy's, just in a bad situation. So, but you know what? Damager, Epinesa, a couple of good plays. Yeah, Epinesa, he came close to getting the sack. He was chasing Mullins. He reached for him, and then Mullins, I think, chucked it or threw it away. Yeah, the ACL getting better. I mean, those injuries, man, I've never had an ACL. I don't know what a major injury is like. Never. There was another injury that scared. It was just a whole mess on the first drive. It was Beasley getting checked for a head injury. The Bills press Twitter reported. Then the two running backs, and then Felicia. I was like, Jesus Christ, come on, don't do this to us. Trevor, what do you see in Drew Lock? He reminds me of Allen. Well, he's been in the league. I mean, this is his second year. I know they have a lot of injuries. Yesterday, he just threw some real bad interceptions, man. Just some real bonehead interceptions. I don't know. He's an athlete. He can throw. I mean, their situation the week prior was insane. I can't believe the league allowed that for that kid Milton to go out and play quarterback. I mean, how horrible. I mean, what a slight on your product and to the fans that pay for NFL Sunday ticket, and unfortunately they can't go to games, but you have that kid go out and play quarterback, and he's one for. I mean, that's an embarrassment. That should not happen in the NFL. I'm sorry. What they did was terrible. It could be, it could be. I hope, I hope we're on the winning end of it. I really do. But one little note, I think. We always talk about a little bit about everything on this. We don't really stick to one topic. We go all over the map. Draft. I know it's early. I know people would say, mid-season defense. I think they're going to put another weapon around Allen. I think they're going to go out and try to get more speed on offense to put next to Allen. That guy, I think, is going to be gone, dude. That guy's going to be gone. If he's there, God, I would go through the roof or Freiermuth, but I think they're going to go out there and try to get a guy who can take the top off the defense. Not saying a Ruggs type of guy, but I think they're going to go out there and just try to, get a guy who can open up the field more and stretch, because I don't know if Smoke will be back next year because of his age, because of his contract, but we'll see. Yeah, Damager puts a good point. The Arizona game could have killed anybody's psyche, but it built theirs, and it was the reverse. The Bills kind of reversed it, had to go back to the stadium because of some crazy situation, and Arizona's fallen apart. So, shit, I'll take a 2-for-1. I mean, Bills have won 2. They had one stolen from them, in my opinion, but you know what? The guy made the play, can't redo it. So, it was really one thing I'll note tonight. I was really frustrated because I've been really big on him, and I was hoping that, I think he's still going to take a step, but you see what the coaches did after, Zach Moss fumbled inside, and it was a bad place to fumble. You do not fumble the ball down there, man. You just don't do it, especially after your defense just got that stop. You don't give up the football. And he got a seat on the bench, and I think he played one snap after that, and he'll learn because he was really coming on. And I think that kid's got a lot because he's a thick, tough runner. He's got more explosiveness in terms of being able to break off long runs than Singletary. So I think that he still has he's going to play a big role for the Bills, but hopefully this is a good learning experience for him. He'll hold on to the ball from now on. And but it was really frustrating because I'm really hoping that he can, because Singletary 18 carries. Bills only had 5 less rushing yards on the 49ers tonight. You'd never know it. The Bills had 5 less rushing yards than the 49ers. They didn't really even try to run the ball tonight. They were like, eh. And the encouraging thing about this offense, the 2 weeks they said, we're going to run the football. They did it. last week for some against the Chargers. And the reason I think that is they didn't want to have, you know, a situation where they were just running up and down the field. I don't know, maybe coming off a bye. They wanted to, work on their run game. They're playing an inferior opponent at home who traveled across country. And then the Patriots, they said, you know what, we're going to put an emphasis on running the ball. And they were able to do it in both games, 170 yards. So when they when they've said that they want to do something and they pretty much told everybody, we're going to get back to it, they did it and they were successful. This week, completely different game plan. They were like, you know what, we're just going to open up the cupboard and let it rip, and they did it, and capable of it too. Balls, fluke play. Yeah, fluke play. Just 1 in 100, unless you're Greg Williams calling zero blitz, letting people just run for fun past your practice squad corner. Great job. What a piece of shit. A lot of players grabbing, their legs when it might be a head injury to avoid the pro. It's possible, man. It's possible. I wouldn't doubt it, because I know he got hit in the head. Moss, because you don't want to go in the tent, because if the guy sees something he doesn't like, you don't want to be pulled out of the game. So Steve Lynn, we're going to draft a corner or a guard first. You can get speed receiver to second round. It's possible, but if you get a talent, look, example, I'm not saying they needed him, but look at the Chiefs. Did they need Clyde Edwards-Helaire? No. That's more to my point. The year prior, Nicole Hardman. More speed. That I just think that they're in that position now where they could maybe even trade out of the first round, accumulate something else. I just think that they're going to add speed. They're just going to add another piece around Allen that's affordable, that can, has fresh legs, that can take the top off the defense at the perimeter. I think that's just my opinion. Ball's interesting thing. This offseason, I think we're a destination now. We've been a destination the year before. You saw Beasley come, you saw Brown come, you saw, people want to come. Now you see Diggs flourishing. Not that he wasn't before, but man, Damager, look at when Brown is in the lineup, we're totally different. We're even more dangerous. And I think that's what they're going to want to do. They're going to want to add speed. They're going to want to add a piece that's going to take a 20, 25-yard zone, turn it into a 40, because that's all the Chiefs' offense is. It turns into a fire drill because you're trying to cover all that speed. Mahomes just breaks contain, and one of those guys, by law of averages, is just going to find a soft spot and sit there unless he ran past the guy to start. And then you have Travis Kelce, who's big as shit, who can just stand there and just catch a cupcake like he always does. So yeah, that's instead of make it easy, man. This kid, you still have 2 more years of a good deal on a contract. You have to put pieces around him. And I fully expect that. Look how aggressive they are. They don't go the conservative route. Now, I'm not saying to force it. If they see a player there at another position that they deem is better, I'll be the first to throw my hands up and say, take him. The Moss fumble is coming. So frustrating. So frustrating. Ugh, I hate watching it. Even though I know what's going to happen, I know the Bills win. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Steve Lynn, Trevor, if I'm Trevor Lawrence, I refuse. His parents could sit around the round table. He could consult Peyton Manning. He can, hear around the league. And maybe he does. Maybe he says, you know what, if you draft me, you have to trade me, or I'm not coming out. Because Peyton Manning did that in 97. He could have come out, been the first overall pick, and instead he went back to school and he didn't come out. And he stayed. So that is, look at, Sanchez, what's happened to him. And Sanchez and Darnold aren't the pedigree of Trevor Lawrence, but still, does he want to rely on that organization in this environment, in this, North New Jersey and NYC, with these vipers in the media? See how fast Darnold didn't lose that game yesterday. goes on his record. He played well. He deserved to win that game. That organization is just fucking trash. They could destroy anybody. Just give them time. Steve Lynn, the way the Bills are playing, first round pick is it's going to be a late pick, man. It's not. We're not talking. We're not dealing with those, pick 8, pick 9s and 10s anymore. We're hopefully down in the 30s. Hopefully. You know what I mean by that. What's up, Matt? How you doing, man? Josh fucking Allen, just saucy as hell, bro. He's a fucking assassin out there, just through and through, 100%. All cock and balls out there tonight. And my only point was the frustration I had, like the rest of you had. I'm sure it was in the first drive where they go down there and they don't score. Pisses me off. Defense holds up, gets the ball back, and then they fumble. It's just like, okay, they went in and shot themselves in the foot twice, 3 times. And they still go out there and go win the game pretty easily, pretty damn easily. The 49ers got the friends and family touchdown at the end, but the defense made plays when they had to. And, you're going to get a lot of victory apologists out there. You know what I mean by that? There's going to be a Bills fan that's still just miserable, doesn't like seeing other people be happy. They didn't have their Garoppolo and Kittle and Nick Bosa. There'd probably be a different game if they had those guys, right? You're still going to get those guys in the media. If the 49ers had Nick Bosa, this isn't the same team that went to the Super Bowl. If they had this and they had that, you're going to see those people. You'll see those people. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's right, Matt. Maybe Nate Peterman would have had a game like Jesus Christ. I don't know how that kid. I don't even want to talk about him, but Jesus Christ. How can you look to be miserable? How can you search out misery? Yeah, big arms equals speed. Just create space. Create space on offense. Stretch a defense. And I think that Bean is just an aggressive guy. He's not cut from the same cloth we're used to seeing. We're seeing a GM. He looks conservative. He looks square, but he's not. McDermott, he played conservative as fuck. But now they have a quarterback that they trust and that they drafted and that they love implicitly. They give that kid a lot of trust and a lot of freedom. Going for it on that 4th down, that's something Bean would have not, McDermott would have not done, probably even last year. And I don't know if they trust Hauska's leg, who retired this week. Hats off to Steve Hauska in his career. He played some good football for the Bills. And, he wasn't his best after he got hit by Henry Anderson, that piece of shit. But you know what? Good job for him. Hopefully he has a good career, after football, a good life. I'm sure he will. Balls, I like Knox, but if Daboll is around next year, I could see us going after another big wide receiver. Yeah, man. Somebody in the middle, somebody to stretch, who knows, but the best player possible. Yep, the Bills are 3-point on. It won't give them any credit. Nah, they don't care. It's just like, they kind of like sweep it under the rug. Like it didn't happen. Like, oh, they won by like pretty much double digits. And Bills went up and down the field all night. They were unstoppable. They went up and down the field like it was nothing. There's no other way to put it. The 49ers had no answers. The media and fan base has their way. Damager, yes, but his contract, there's no way they can cut him. $50 million. What a crazy thing to happen to that guy. Carson Wentz, my God. And there's a classic example. They didn't, they're decimated on the offensive line. Decimated. He's lost his confidence. His receivers last year dropping passes. He kept them in a lot of games last year. They got him to the playoffs. And, you only have rookies around them, no veterans. The veterans they have are hurt. Alshon Jeffrey is pretty much a shell of himself, could care less about playing football anymore. Hurts came in and played okay, but still, it's rattled him. And that's what you don't do to a quarterback. They lost some good coaches. So, yeah, that's just a crazy situation. Crazy situation. Hopefully he can, get it back, because I know a lot of Philly fans. Hopefully he turns it around, because I'm going to root for him, because people are, kind of like knocking on him and kicking him while he's down. I'm going to root for him. Yeah, Greg's a piece of crap. I wish he would have stayed just to see 0-16. He didn't want to see 0-16. He didn't want to be on that staff for 0-16. He wanted to like find his way out of that. That's the kind of guy he is. Appreciate the free money tonight from Vegas plus 2.5. McDermott, like, yeah, he does, man. He that whole on what was it? The mic'd up thing. You see McDermott, people that want to say he's not emotional and that he doesn't have he's just, oh, where's the emotion? Where's the fire? Where's the coach? They didn't watch that. And the camera's not always on the coach. Man, you watch that. He's a different character than he is with the media, as all these guys are. Josh is a completely different guy behind the scenes. And his team seems to love him. Scramble drill. Oh, that was a beautiful pass to Beasley. I'm watching the replay. Wentz played like that Allen style. Yeah, he did, and he just doesn't have the weapons anymore. He doesn't just. It's crazy. Is Dable gone next year? Done deal? I don't know, man. It's a weird league. And like I was saying, like Josh Allen gets some national praise here and there, but for this guy to have turned his career around with the completion percentage that he has now, he's almost at 70% or at 70% completion from being where he was, where people thought the ceiling was like 63, 65. That's it. That's all he'll ever be. He doubled that. I honestly think if Daboll was doing this with a Kyler Murray, shit, look at Greg Roman. Greg Roman was a shoo-in for a head coaching job after last year. So teams are leery. The passing game, whatever. People want to see big passing numbers. You have the Lions. You have Atlanta, who I think is going to want a big-time head coach. The Lions are kind of a, maybe the Robert Saleh type of guy. They're going to go for somebody that's the total opposite. No New England ties. So I ruled Daboll out of the Lions completely. Who else do we got? Jets. I don't think he's a Jets guy. I don't think that makes a lot of noise in New York. I think New York, they're going to look for something. They're going to try to do something else. I think, you got the enemy. And then you got the Texans. I at this current juncture, because there's a lot of interesting situations. You got Jacksonville that's going to be open. The Chargers is going to be open. So there's going to be other openings. Will he get interviews? Absolutely. I think it's 65-35 he's back in Buffalo next year. 65-35. I think he gets a pay raise. I think the Bills will give him a bump. They'll have to. Read some of the comments. Douglas Masters, how about that Edmonds play? He has turned the season around. Well, yeah, man. We forget, and I'm guilty of this more so than anybody. Week one, Bills linebackers both go down. Edmonds hurts his shoulder, right? And then Milano tweaks his hamstring. They both don't play in Miami. That's another thing. If provided they're healthy, Bills will have and Klein wasn't playing at the level he is now. Bills' linebacking situation is going to be completely different than it was versus Miami. Completely different. They didn't have Josh Norman. They have Josh Norman back. They didn't know what they have in Dane Jackson. They have a better idea of what they have in Dane Jackson. So they're a completely different team, animal. And the offensive level has stayed pretty good. They've stayed up and stayed, they're dropping high 20s, low 30s every game. So that's what that's where the elite teams are. So yeah, they're going to be facing a different Bills team. That's the team they're going to be facing a different Bills team. And if they don't have Fitz, Fitz can scrap. I'm not saying Tua can't, but a rookie quarterback coming north in the cold, in a big game, we'll see. I just don't. Yeah, that's another possibility because that's what makes it interesting. You have teams that could, Lawrence is going to rue the day. That's a guy who is going to get to call his shot if he gets to coach Trevor Lawrence. That's the and I think any incoming head coach is going to want that type of chance, that type of opportunity is to get their name attached to that guy or an offensive coordinator potentially. So that's that pass to Davis right over Warner. Oh my God, that's delicious. Just watched it. Such a sexy play. I mean, you watch this replay and you see how he just floats it over, and Warner stretches out for this, man. Oh my God. Accuracy. Something he wasn't supposed to have. Damager points out, I heard talking heads, the Bills are the Bills contenders. I think I think they give any team in the NFL problems. Let's just say that. I'll be humble about it. But yeah, you have a team, you have openings. Who wants to coach Deshaun Watson? Who wants to coach Trevor Lawrence? Who wants to coach Justin Herbert? Who wants to, take those are the big things. Those are the big money items. Who's going to want to coach Justin Fields? Those type of situations is like it's all tied to the quarterback. Yes, Saleh pointed out something like he knew he was in for it with Allen. He really knew he was in for it with Allen. I like the tweet. He was quoted when he did an interview with the 49ers about this is Robert Saleh on Josh Allen. He is a problem. He is much more than I expected when I turned on the tape. He is a challenge. We've got our hands full. Probably one of the better challenges we've had all year. Robert Saleh on Josh Allen, and he was right because of his size, his mobility, his arm strength, his willingness to push the ball down the field. He gave them a shorthanded secondary. Everything that they and if a team's shorthanded on the secondary and you want to go destroy them, go ahead. And they did that. They should do that. Do you think Bill Cowher would coach the Jets? If that guy comes out of the booth to coach after over a decade, he's crazy because I think the game's passed him by. I think once his wife Kay died of cancer, I think he, I just don't. If the man wants to do it and somebody wants to pay him, let him do it. But I don't. I just think the game passed him by. Is Daboll H coach material though? I don't see it. Great OC though. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing that happens with a lot of the OCs and defensive coordinators is they get exposed as just being good coordinators rather than head coaches. So it's tough. It's really tough because you go from a guy who's got, you're a delegator, you're a manager to being, are you a play caller on game day? There's so many checks and balances. It's hard. It's like the Bills, they have the Leslie Frazier, Sean McDermott, brain trust on defense. And I think, obviously Daboll has the autonomy on offense and it's his baby and he gets to do it in conjunction with Allen. Obviously they consult with McDermott, but yeah, I mean, I think that another year with Allen, that would be amazing. And I would look at Josh McDaniel. Is he going to get a head coaching job? Who knows? Is he going to take over for Belichick? Remember how many times he was supposed to be a head coach after the whole Denver debacle? So it's really tricky with the head coaching, because somebody could come in and Mike Tomlin people and blow them away and be like, oh shit, I didn't expect this guy to, be so commanding and be so impressive. Like, let's give him the job. Douglas Allen threaded the needle. Steve Lynn heard the Jets want to hire the Clint. Oh God, why would he leave to go to the Jets? That is insane. That coaching the college kids and coaching NFL the men are completely different. That's just I just don't get that. I mean, if he wants to, go ahead, but have fun with that. Some guys are experts on X's and O's and prove. Lots of guys, yeah, like Romeo Crennel, Freddie Kitchens, Rex Ryan. The list goes on. I mean, what's the Charlie Weiss? You just, my God, you just go on and on and on. The Gase, the other guy, Philbin, all these guys, like a lot of these guys, like Chan Gailey. He's a good offensive coordinator. Chan Gailey's a good offensive coordinator. Easy to like, easy to root for. Love Chan Gailey. My favorite drought head coach. Terrible head coach. Terrible. Just a bad head coach. Looking forward to seeing what our D looks like against a one-dimensional Steelers offense. They can't afford to get in a shootout with us. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough, man. I think the Bills are going to want to run the ball a little bit. to slow down the pass rush and, just gear up for playoff football, because you do want to be able to play keep away. You do want to be able to make teams like, hey, got to stop us. And if you beat up a team in the run a little bit, you draw them up, you open them up for a deep shot. So, yeah, Hugh Jackson, I never thought he was a good X's and O's guy anyway. The other guy, Dirk Coder, that was in Tampa Bay. Just the list goes on. Even McDaniels. McDaniels, to me, was more of a pro. I mean, they're creative, but I think that's more Belichick. And Brady was the ultimate catalyst for it. What's up, Pride? How you doing, bro? Double Watt, their linebackers are tough. Will have a tough time. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup because of they're missing players. The Bills, are missing Brown, but for the most part are healthier than them. Yeah, Warner is a hell of a player, man. They're a good team. The 49ers, they're a good team. They are injured. They have two, a young wide receiver and a rookie wide receiver. They're a good team. You don't have to, I'll say it. If you don't have 3 Pro Bowlers of that caliber, it's going to hurt you. But, they won against the Jets, but they eventually lost because almost all those guys got hurt in that game. He came back in the game. Vols Bills. He came back in the game. Feliciano went down in the fourth quarter. But Eric pointed out something good in the chat that Bucker was playing a lot tonight, late for Brian Winters. He was playing left guard, and Feliciano was back in the game because I noticed, I was like, who's number 65? And I was like, I thought it was 66 because a 6 and a 5 can sometimes look alike, if they're just glossing between all these big bodies. And I was like, I saw it was Bucker. I was like, oh shit, they finally put Bucker in, and he stayed there. He did go down. He was out for a few plays, then he came back in. Anthony Lynn is another point. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that they're just great in the box. They're great in their little play sheet, and that's it. Leave them there. Look at Matt Patricia, gone. I mean, was he a great defensive coordinator, or was it Belichick? Belichick's defenses are just as good, if not better, without him. Was it the pencil? No. Once the brain goes, that's really going to crumble. And they've come back to the pack this year. They've won some games. They're really well coached. You know that. We know that. They give teams everything that they can handle and then some. But they're just in any other team now because they don't have the best quarterback in NFL history. And people want to talk about, is it Brady, is it Belichick? Well, the guy that has the fucking ball in his hands every goddamn play breaks out big difference. And I don't like one outlier year of Matt Castle to try to, disprove like over 20 years of body of work that a quarterback has. As Belichick was a sub 500 head coach without Brady before he got him. Steve Lynn, funny how McDaniel and Shanahan were both interviewed by San Fran. McDermott and Shanahan were in Buffalo for the head coach. Now, how things would have been so different. Yeah. And remember, Shanahan was the celebrated. He was the big prize. He did an interview with Buffalo. And I believe he refused an interview with Buffalo years ago. They tried to hire him, and he refused to interview there. And he took I believe he took the offensive coordinator job in Atlanta at some point. But yeah, it might have been before that. But McDermott landed in the right place for him. And it's interesting. I saw a stat today. You guys probably saw it too, that Shanahan is 0-24 when his teams are down by they're down at half or they're down by 7 going into the fourth, which tells me that his offense is so run predicated that it's harder for his teams to throw themselves back into games because, if they're not running and you're not worried about all the stuff that they do blocking scheme wise, that you can kind of just sit back. It's like at the end of the game, the Bills sat back and gave them yards for time. That's all they did. They didn't challenge the receivers. They didn't press. They didn't do anything cute. They just laid back in a soft zone and said, here you go. At the end of the day, the stats don't look great, but that's what the Bills did. Damager, Doug Peterson, resigning after 3 years, only 3 years. He's resigning? Is that real? or no? I'm about to say, if that was, that'd be crazy. No, I think Shanahan's is a good coach. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good coach. 0-25 now, being down at halftime. That's a crazy stat. Not good for Jimmy G, but it's not good for him either. Like, you're going to have to come back in games. You're going to be down. Some team is going to get you, and you're going to have to find a way to claw back. He's sexy enough to bring eyes there. I think a team will. I think eyes are there now already, because as long as you have Belichick in New England, people are always going to look. People are always going to watch. People are always going to wonder what's happening. What are they going to do? How are they going to get back? You have Allen in Buffalo now, who's the clear-cut stud. You have the Tua Flores connection down in Miami, which is intriguing, and they're a scrappy team, and he's definitely got that team and that organization in a good place, much better than that they were with Philbin or ever with Gase. So, and then you have the Jets, who are just a trash fire, and it's like, well, how can they fuck this up? One, two, how can they get rejected? B, they're a big city, they're a big market. So, reports about him weren't true. That'd be crazy. I've never heard. That would be insane if he resigned. Yeah, week 17. It'll be a good game. It'll be interesting to see what position the Bills are in. Will they sit and rest guys? Will they need that game? It's gonna be interesting. It's one I definitely can't wait to see. But one game at a time. Pride's a Dolphin fan, but he's he had one cocky moment, but he's not a dick. He's a good guy. Yeah, but then what if Lawrence says no? What if Lawrence stays? What if Lawrence says, I don't want to go out in this whole COVID season. I want to go out in Death Valley full of fans. He's not going to win the Heisman this year. It's possible. And if that happens, wow, to go 0-16 and not get that prize, that's brutal. That's brutal. Yeah, he's talented, and you see the things that he can do, and he scrambles, and more so behind the line of scrimmage, and he makes throws. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he said goodbye to Clemson yet. If he did, he did, but I don't know where he did, or I didn't see it reported anywhere that he did. But it's just their organization. It's their building is toxic, and it's not. We've seen it. We've seen it with multiple head coaches there. We've seen it with multiple quarterbacks, young quarterbacks. The one good quarterback that they had in this whole time that played well was Chad Pennington. Yeah, I mean, he could pull Eli. Eli says, trade me and draft me, and draft me and trade me, and that could happen. I mean, these kids aren't stupid. They're commodities. They know their products. They know their value. A guy like Trevor Lawrence is going to have an agent. He's going to have a marketing firm. He's going to have people in his ear like, New York is great. But then the football people are going to tell him that organization is shit, and it could destroy you. And look what happens when that media destroys you. Eli Manning won two of the greatest iconic Super Bowls against the most villainous team in NFL history. He had the name, but ultimately he was a 500 quarterback. And this media routinely destroyed him around here. Not so much the Giants loyalist in-house media, like Paul Dottino and guys like that, but the vicious, New York Post, the Daily, they would get him, and it all was left for naught. I mean, Rex was the toast of the town for 10 seconds, and then he became a butt of a joke. So and nobody handled this environment better than Eli Manning. You have to be that kind of character, just a stoic, steadfast, emotionless character. Show him Sam Darnold's record and say, that's what the Jets do. You see what, the Sanchez, I mean, we saw he had ability, he had talent, and then slowly but surely it got eroded. it got destroyed. Damager, remember when McDermott first got introduced into one Bills drive and he got Whaley's dumbass from introducing McDermott? Well, I think that, it just everything changed. It's crazy. Last week when the Bills were playing the Chargers, had the Bills kept Doug Whaley, Anthony Lynn was going to be the head coach. And, that's just more of the same. Unfortunately, it would have been a disaster. Pride. He'd be this. Oh, of course. I mean, you draft that guy. I mean, you're going to be the star. I mean, Darnold was the star. Sanchez was the star. But you have to not only keep the star, but you have to shine it and polish it and have it raise. Everybody's going to assume you're going to be great until you're not, and it's tough. I mean, the kid is as good. I mean, he's the Andrew Luck caliber. He's the Peyton Manning caliber, the John Elway caliber. He has, oh yeah, he's way more. Eli was more clutch in the playoffs than Peyton, no doubt about it. There's no, you'd rather have Eli in the playoffs. Why wasn't McDermott hired a week or so after the embarrassing Beyond? Yes, he was. Yeah, he was. He was. They had fired Rex. They had the not privy to the conversation. Lynn coached the last game against the Jets. They lost. He was hired January 13th, 2017. Yeah, Revis in the deep. I mean, it's just a bad organization. I don't know how many other ways to spin it. It's just really, really bad. And they're very numbers driven, money driven in terms of profit over product. They never know what they're doing from minute to minute. A lot of people have a say in that organization. Their share, well, the Johnson brothers, along with the people that they trust that are in their ear, mainly their money counters. They interfere with the football people regularly. The football people that they hire aren't good. So when you get down to it, it becomes a situation where, you're 0-16 and I don't know how many losses in the last 2 years, a tremendous amount. They have not won a lot of football games. And, that's just bad. We know what that kind of football looks like, and that's terrible. We don't know 0-16, but we know bad football. Why would Gase not be fired? Gase is going to be fired. Like, Gase is gone. Like, there's no way you can bring back Adam Gase, especially if fans are going to be back in the building. Like, if you have fans back in these buildings, there's no way in hell you could have that guy trot out in August or early September of 21. There's no fucking way. You're going to have a mutiny. He always has that excuse. He was the guy that was going to fix Tannehill. He was the guy that was going to, yeah, he's an excuse maker. I don't like excuses. Gase is trash. He's a bad offensive coordinator. He made Peyton Manning. He's a classic example of, like, I had a good relationship with the right guy and build my career, build my legacy off of the back of this guy, which is Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's career was set in stone way before Adam Gase. So Gase is just trash. I mean, if they want to keep him, dude, go right ahead, though. If they want to keep him, be my guest. Have it. Quality control with the Broncos. Who knows? I mean, somebody will give him a job. That's the way the league works. We've seen this. Greg Williams has been the defensive coordinator for like 14 teams. When I was a kid, there was 28 teams, so that had been half the fucking league. Meanwhile, I think the guy coached his last game because I don't think he's hireable now. I think he knowingly threw that game. And I'll just be honest with you. I think he knowingly put that defense in a bad spot because he doesn't want to be a part of 0-16, and he wanted to just say, fuck you. Because if you win one, it looks a little better, but maybe it takes you away from, or it does take you away from Lawrence. But who knows? I mean, maybe they get a win at some point. That would be crazy, but I don't know. The Raiders, man, that's not a good place for them to play because they lost there last year, I believe. Yeah, that was a tank. That was his fuck you to the org. He didn't want to be part of 0-16. Funny hearing Rex Ryan talk about 2 straight AFC Championship games, but then you think that's the best they've done since Super Bowl 1. Well, yeah, Super Bowl 3. Packers won both of them. One against the Chiefs, and I believe, one against the Chiefs, and I believe one against the Raiders or the Chiefs. It might have been a repeat. Rod Marinelli got a job after a defensive line coach. Yeah, he'll be fine. He's a He went from being a head coach to a defensive line coach. That's a big digression in job title. Cover 0 with 10 seconds left. Yeah, cover 0 with 0 blitz. That was wow. That was bad. The Jets were decent in the 80s. They had some good teams. Mark Gastineau. They had the New York Stock Exchange. Klecko, Gastineau, a couple other guys. Altoon, Kenny O'Brien, Mercury. They had some guys. They were a decent team. It's been a fun year. It just really sucks that there's no fans to enjoy it. That's what really pains me about these games. And for all, not just Bills fans, but other fans too, teams that are turning it around, the good games we've seen. Imagine, okay, the Bills were on the bad end of it. Imagine the fans in Arizona, the Hail Mary catch, or the Bills, Croft catching the game winner against the Rams the last second, or the Bills getting that fumble late, Justin Zimmer against the Patriots to beat them. So it's tough, man. It really is tough. Or, the Dolphins, they had what was that win that they had? It was a really good win in Miami. Shit. Well, they stomped out the 49ers in San Francisco. That was for sure. They stomped them out. That was one team that handled San Francisco. That they were never in that game. I think Beathard played that game, or no, Garoppolo started that game, but he was still fucked up and he threw a couple interceptions. He looked really, really bad. Yeah, Aguilar was wide. Yeah, that's the thing is like it was like this. It was even worse coverage. It's like, hey, we went from single high safety. We're gonna make it even worse the next play. Aguilar, that was a touchdown. He just missed the throw. Yeah, I don't never want to know what that's like, Damager. They had quite a decent teams. Yeah, they had some. Well, those were all the Bill Parcells guys. That came. That he drafted were still there. Like Sean Ellis, Lavernius Coles, some of those offensive linemen that they had were really good. Jason Fabini. So he had like left them a lot of talent before he went to Dallas. Well, quit and then eventually went to Dallas. Poor Browns fans. Well, you know what? Hats off to Kevin Stefanski, man. He turned it around there. He really, I mean, look at this. Look at Kevin Stefanski with Cleveland. You could say the Bills with Sean McDermott, even though he's got a bigger body of work than the other guys. Joe Judge with the Giants, and Brian Flores with the Dolphins. Coaching matters, man. Coaching matters. Coaching really matters in this league. Like if you don't have a guy that has his fingers on the pulse, knows how to manage the room, knows how to get the guys' heads wired on right, can build an identity, build a place where winning is not it becomes the norm. It's not something you hope for. It's something you expect. That shit matters. It's really, really important. It's really important. And those 4 guys, man, the more recent ones, it's just, yeah, man, I'm here in North New Jersey, so it's I was hoping to see one game live this year. I was supposed to, but the tickets it was a single game, and I got the refund way back. I was supposed to finally go to Buffalo, and it didn't happen. Just putting it out there, the Browns have been unstoppable. Yeah, everybody knows that Odell Beckham Jr. is a cancer. They don't have to worry about getting in the ball. They can focus on the run more, which is something they're really good at. With those 2 running backs, their offensive line is really good. you know, their wide receivers along with their tight ends seem to work well together, play well off of each other. You know, it just they play freer without them. Sometimes you can have too many guys to get the ball, especially if their ego's too goddamn big. And we all know his ego's really big. But yo, guys, you are amazing. 23 people here. You're all soldiers. Almost 2 hours. It's 2 a.m. I'm gonna go, but really, really appreciate all you guys staying in here, sticking with me. Um, what a great win, a really necessary win. Love it. Cutting out a selfish guy makes a huge, yeah, man. It really, really does. Tell the Steelers that. Yeah. So we'll get back on it next week. It's gonna be yeah, the Steelers have done that a lot. Santonio Holmes, Plaxico Burress, Antonio Brown, all wide receivers. What do you know? Crazy ass wide receivers, man. Breaking out the Kelly jersey tomorrow. Shit, I would too. I would break out the Allen jersey. Break out any Bills gear you got. You earned it. I'll have whatever Bills stuff. I'm gonna have it on. So, all right, guys. Love you all. Thank you all for coming in, stopping in. I know you probably guys have work, so you know, thank you. I appreciate it. Love you all. Go Bills. 9-3. Should be turning through, but I'll take it. Until next week.